Usually this is the John Wisconsin segment, but we want to give a little bit of time and pass our well wishes to everybody out in California, and specifically our guy Pete Lee. Did you see him on the Tonight Show the other night? He lost his house.
Saw Pete Lee, and Pete, as so many of the people, Tark being the 100th, so many people on this show have come on as guests, and the old kind of fun thing, friends of the show, and have become just friends. Yeah. And Pete's a little like that, here, would you like a pocket beer?
That happened.
I know you are tighter with him, but I have a wealth of, I didn't realize how many people I knew until somebody said, hey, have you talked to your people in California? Like, I should. And so I sent one out to John Henson, and then I sent one out to kind of a dear friend of mine, Ignacio Arenas, who's out there. And then I thought, I should text White Stones. And then I think, then Ian Bush, who's went to Marquette and was one of the great comedy producers on Wipeout, or Matt Kunitz. And I think, oh my gosh, Chidi Imo and Victor Edit, who are two teammates of mine from Nigeria that live in Los Angeles. Dennis Mitchelltree, who was a high school classmate of mine who went to school in Boston, Berkeley. He's a saxophone player, wonderful musicians out there. Dave Cooley, one of my dear, dear friends, also Green Bay Southwest, who is out there. And I'm thinking about him, and a guy named Kevin Wernberg, who for the longest time was one of the drivers behind all the logistics of Wipeout, and who owns Stonehenge Golf Course up in Door County. I don't know if you knew that. So all these people, and especially ones, like I said, who have Wisconsin ties, which would be, Kevin and Dennis Mitchelltree and Dave. And then to think about Pete, because they don't have the platform that Pete did to show up on Tonight's Show. And I know you were there, and to hear him talk about, when I left, I had a house and now I don't. And it is wrought with devastation. And if you could just take all the political BS out of either side of that and just go, human beings have had their lives devastated. Okay. We are purveyors of joy. These human, regardless of the circumstance, you either A, have a house, or B, you do not have a house and it's burned down. They're all B. And it's terrible. And to Pete, do it with his good humor, and to do it, as he said, sort of cathartically, is amazing. And we wish him the best, and however he comes over that, because it's going to take a while. But just such a good guy. I have a feeling like he'll be on the program again at some point, because he's just too funny not to, you know.
Wow.
I don't know that we need a second John Anderson episode, but we could use a second and third Pete Lee episode
sooner than later. If you can, go look it up. It's Pete Lee. That's what all of his social media is. He was on the Tonight Show recently, like the day after he lost his house. And to what John just said, he writes jokes to make it through stuff like this. And so
my house used to be white. It's now blaze orange.
Yeah. Which one's yours? The orange one. And my favorite joke, he led with it. He said, it turns out when your house burns down, try January is over. And he definitely had a wet January. And I think it's going to continue that way.
What did you say? It looked like the logo for a Guy Fieri restaurant.
Yeah.
And I guess because of that, and he said it was cathartic, and he's allowed to, to have those, if that helps when he goes through. But it's just terrible. It's horrible. And it may be out in LA, but there are people with ties to our state in Wisconsin that can use our compassion, can use our prayers, can use our thoughts and our well wishes, or just, a phone call to cheer them up, whatever it is. Check on those people.
Do it. And just for comparison purposes, I saw online the other day a map of Southeast Wisconsin from the lakefront all the way through West Dallas and Wisconsin State Fair Park. I believe up to Ozaukee County and as far south as the Racine line, I want to say. That, if it were here, that would be gone. And I mean, we don't need perspective, but geographically speaking, it is absolutely devastating. So thoughts or prayers to everybody out there, especially our guy Pete Lee and everybody that John just rattled off. I know Pete. That's probably it.
I bet if you sat down, you probably had some other folks, it just
probably so.
Like you said, mine just added up. I'm like, wow, more names, another name. How'd I forget that guy? So
anyway. Look for ways to help Wisconsin. That's what we do best.